wrestling fans. My name is Tyler Wolf, and welcome back to another edition of the Barrie Wrestling All-Ontario Cup Event Center, as always sponsored by www.countitout7.com. For information on how you can see the tournament or take part in Barrie Wrestling's Indiegogo campaign, make sure to look up at Barrie Wrestling on all social media platforms. And be sure to head over to www.countitout7.com, where you can hear interviews with some of the top stars in professional wrestling today, as well as the latest episodes of the Good Friend, Better Enemy podcast and my own personal podcast, Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. In just a few short minutes, we're going to be joined by a man who's got to be considered one of the odds-on favorites to win the entire tournament. I'm talking about the visionary Vaughn Vertigo. However, before we get to that, I'd like to speak about perhaps the most seasoned man to enter this tournament. He's a true legend who's done it all. And when you think of Ontario wrestling, one of the first names that should come to mind is Tornado. Winning this tournament could cement his legacy as being the greatest wrestler to come out of Ontario. Last week, we heard from Big Ben Ortman and how seriously he's taking this tournament. Well, he wanted to let us know that actions speak louder than words. So let's take a look at a very special video package of how he is preparing for this tournament. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by the visionary Vaughn Vertigo.
For far too long, I've been trying to prove too many things to too many people. But this time, it's time to prove to myself what I already know.
Barrie Wrestling's All-Ontario Cup is fastly approaching. Sitting down with us today is a man who many are saying is one of the odds-on favorites to win the whole tournament. I'm talking about the visionary Vaughn Vertigo. Vaughn, thanks for sitting down with us today.
No problem. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. And, we got a lot to talk about, and I want to jump right into it. As I just mentioned, your name is on the top of the list of favorites to win the whole tournament. How does that make you feel? And does that put any added pressure on you heading into the first-round match?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, a lot of us are in the same boat of not being able to wrestle much through COVID, but, it kind of puts us all on the same playing field. But at the same time, I have the experience of, 7 years of experience before COVID. Some of the people in the tournament, like a Travis Moore, only have 1 or 2 years of experience. So they're not going to be able to bounce back just as quick. So, I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I think that experience is definitely something that you can rely on there. And, with all this, the pandemic has forced you out of the ring for over a year now. Ring conditioning is a very real thing. Are you worried about jumping into a big tournament like this after being off for so long?
Yeah, definitely. I am worried, but, I think a lot of us we've had a lot of ups and downs through the pandemic. Thankfully, I think I'm back more on the up, and I'm trying to get back into physical shape. Am I where I was before the pandemic? Probably not. I don't think really many people are, because until you're in a ring, you can't really train to be in a ring. So thankfully I've had a few experiences to get back in the ring before the tournament. So that's going to be, that's going to help. But, I'm nervous, but we're going to see what happens.
And since you haven't been able to be competing in front of the crowds like that, what have you been doing to stay in shape during this layoff?
The gym was nice when it's open, but it's not always open. So I kind of constructed a, sort of gym in my basement, hired a nutritionist to kind of take care of that for me, because definitely in the winter I got a little hasty, and I love pizza, so ate too much pizza in the winter. But thankfully we're turning that back around in time for the tournament. So yeah.
One of the proud sponsors of Barrie Wrestling is Domino's Pizza, and I live right beside one as well, so I feel that pain, man.
That's exactly it. And I do love Domino's. So that's a problem.
Well, it's good stuff. Stay away from the crazy bread, right?
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
So we've got talent coming from all over Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the names that you think people might be underestimating going into this tournament?
I think a guy like Tornado. For some people thought he was retired, but he's not retired. He's been wrestling for a while. It's just he's been wrestling for companies kind of up north. That's a man who has, I think, almost 25 years of experience, and that's somebody who could easily go to the finals. If any of other people like a Jesse V, somebody who has kind of come on the scene and is, kind of taking it by. I mean, he's such a big guy that he's going to be a hard one to get past. Like I know that if I have to face him in the tournament, that's going to be an absolute tough one. But yeah, there's so many like Ontario talent in this tournament that I'm very, very proud of. But unfortunately, they're going to have to go through me.
Absolutely. You mentioned the name Jesse V there, and he's aligned with the man that you're very familiar with, the current Barrie Wrestling World Champion, or Heavyweight Champion, sorry. He's the man that actually took the very title from you, Mark Wheeler. How badly are you hoping to cross paths with him at some point in this tournament to not only maybe get some revenge, but to also maybe set yourself up for a rematch and a chance to get that title back?
I mean, if I can pin him in the tournament, that'll prove that I deserve a title shot. I think I already deserve one because I lost the championship back in January of 2020. I went to England. I went to Germany, expecting to be there for 6 weeks. The pandemic happened. Then I had to come home 4 weeks early for my tour. My whole plan was to go to Europe, get better, come back, and then win the championship back. But that wasn't able. That's not how it turned out, So now I've been waiting, what are we at? 16, 18 months now of waiting for my championship opportunity. And now I'm in this tournament. So this is a good opportunity to cross paths with him and hopefully show management that I deserve a title shot.
On the match when Mark took the title from you, you had to deal with constant outside interference from Jesse V and Nug.
Yeah.
How have you learned from that? And do you have any different approaches that you might take should your paths cross in the Ontario Cup?
Yeah, I mean, definitely keep my eyes more open. There's 3 of them, which is a problem. So, but Jesse V is such a big guy. That's obviously an issue. Nug, I think I can outsmart. He's very smart, but in that match, I actually got Mark's. I guess he gave him some brass knucks in the match, and thankfully I got him, and I was able to hit Jesse V in the face with them, and I scared Nug off, thankfully. So, yeah, I think just trying to if I can find a way to get rid of them, so I can have Mark just one-on-one, that's a lot easier of an approach.
Well, the final question I have for you today, Vaughn, what would winning mean for you and your career to take down the whole tournament and win the All Ontario Cup?
I think it would mean everything to me. It would prove what I've been trying to prove for years. I do think I'm one of the top wrestlers in Ontario, but am I the top wrestler in Ontario? I'd have to prove it. There's a lot of really good guys in this tournament, but that would be the stamp on it. That would be the seal of approval that I am the best in Ontario.
Well, Vaughn, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Best of luck to you in the tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it right from the man himself, the visionary, Vaughn